Hey, everybody, how's it going? And welcome to a very, very special episode. This is not going to be a review, very different. I've got two very special people, Kyle and Tony from 902 BrewCast, joining me on the show today. And before we get started into the conversations, I want to give a big shout out to Jeff and Fred from Sagas on a Cave for hooking me up with all the essentials that I need to look spectacular on the camera and their Zoom account to record this because I would not be able to afford it. So a big shout out to Sagas on a Cave, Jeff and Fred. And of course, a big shout out to O Bootlegger for supplying me with a portion of the beer I'll be drinking tonight, which we'll get to quite later. So
I'd like to not shout out to those guys because I look like shit.
Yeah. Maybe in post-production we'll be able to add something to the bag.
There's no help to this. That's fine. I'm used to it now.
I should turn on the beauty filter in Zoom.
If there's such a thing.
Here we go. Touch up my appearance. Here we go.
You thought your computer couldn't work before, Kyle.
Put it into overdrive.
Poor thing. It's already getting old.
I can hear the fan across town now.
Burn myself touching it.
Yeah. So,
what are you guys drinking?
Oh, well, I just finished a run, so I'm drinking a Decorum to start my, just remind myself what beer is,
Yeah,
nice and tasty. So this is a lager from Tattamagush Brewing. It's a favorite of mine. They've since put out a lime version. I'm sure there's more versions on the way.
I've seen that. Have you had the lime version yet?
I have not. I've got to put an order, and I'm kind of I'm holding out for a reason that I can't share. But
well, their birthday's coming up, right? So
yeah, so they've got a pile of beers coming out.
How old are they going to be?
Yeah,
7.
I want 6 or 7.
Really?
They've been around a while. But yeah, just crushing a nice, easy drinking lager. I've got some other surprises here that I'll dip into that we can get into later. But this is how I'm starting my night for sure.
Nice, definitely a great way to start it.
It's
obviously on brand with the glassware too, because that's how we roll.
It's low, right?
I'm rocking the branded glass too.
It's like 2.8%, 2.9.
It is 2.9%.
Yeah.
So super crushable, easy drinking, perfect for, if you want to drink like a boatload of beers, or if you just want to have one, or if you are having more than one and you want to start because you didn't really drink too much water after you stop running.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kyle knows I'm a hydration master, so I'm not super worried about how much water I drank after my run. It's all about pre.
That's right.
There we go. That's where to do it.
I'll take care of me tomorrow. That's how it works.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Kyle, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking the Blue Nose Lager. It's a collaboration between Shipwright and Garrison. It was brewed to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Blue Nose, the ship built in Lunenburg. So that's where Shipwright is located, and then home ports of Lunenburg and Halifax. So it's a collaboration with Garrison. Kelly Robertson, the brewer at Shipwright, also used to work at Garrison, so I think it's a pretty good history between the breweries at this point. And anytime she brews any type of lager, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Nice.
And
yeah,
here I am.
I've never had anything from Shipwright before.
Oh man,
they only do crowlers and draft. So Adam, that owns the brewery, he also owns the restaurant that's below it. So they've got some tap account down there. They don't distribute much beyond the brewery because, frankly, it's a pretty small operation and they can sell it all.
It's good.
And it does move because I've missed stuff before.
Oh yeah. It moves well.
So whereabouts are they located? Like in the Halifax region?
No, they're in
Lunenburg.
Oh, okay.
So down the South Shore, probably maybe an hour or so from Halifax.
Okay.
Yeah.
My geographical sense of Nova Scotia is going to be definitely way off.
It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do know where Tattamagush is. I've been there before, and which is what I'm drinking tonight.
Hey!
Wait, get this to the camera.
There you go.
Nelson's Park. Oh, yeah.
Which is my first time having it ever. And very happy to see some Tattamagush on the shelves in ABL. We do get to see them I'd say once a summer, a couple of SKUs. We had the Jitney dry hop sour, and then we had this one here just show up on the shelves. Which anytime I see anything from Tatamagouche, guaranteed I'm going to grab it. I'm not even going to question it. So it's and this one here is really easy drinking beer, nice and fruity.
Should have got my.
It's a great pale ale.
Yeah,
should have got my BrewCast glass.
What's wrong with you?
But the truth is that I've used them and washed them so many times. Like the logo is so faded, I didn't want to put it on camera.
Yeah,
I wash all my beer glasses are like I only wash them by hand.
I wash some by hand, but it is not one of them.
The disrespect.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll go through.
You know I have more of them. That's why.
Yeah, it's right. There's more somewhere. No one's buying them.
I gotta get some glasses.
Nobody's buying them. That's definitely part of it.
I'm sure Jim Lang will hook you up. You get him.
I know he did hook me up with a bunch of glasses, but I've been changing my logo so many freaking times that I'm blocked into this one here. So I think I got it made. So
Fair
definitely
enough.
we'll probably get something done. And like this, the shaker style glass is just perfect.
I love it.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a great glass.
I mean, I'm using one of those, just not ours.
Yeah.
It's super versatile, right? Like you can put anything in it.
Yeah.
It showcases really well. It's got like it helps with, I find it helps, let you get a good look at the beer and experience the aromas quite nicely. And then also if you're taking a long pull, it's not going to like splash in your face. So
Yeah.
That's it.
Key point.
Absolutely. Who knew that glasses would have played such an intricate part? That's for me anyway. I've got my glasses that I use all the time, and for this one here, it's my everyday glass. It's always got a beer in it.
We love seeing it.
Yeah,
I do too.
And Tatamagouche, my sister got married there, which was probably before Tatamagouche Brewing Company ever opened up. So they've been married quite a while. I think they got married maybe close to 10 years ago.
Okay. Oh yeah, that predates Tata for sure.
Yeah, and they got married at. There's a big what do you call that? It's like a rec center, like a would have been like.
Oh yeah, it's like a fire hall.
Yeah, but geez, they had a couple of old houses on the site as well, which we all rented houses there, and it's the big rec center. They had space there for the wedding anyway. They got married at a cottage further down, and then the reception was in Tatamagouche. Nice. But one nice spot was the first and last time I tasted moonshine. Very dangerous. Of course. That was horrible.
That's bad for your health.
Yeah, very bad.
You gotta drink beer. Beer is good for you.
Yeah, so it left my body so super quick. It didn't stay very long.
Was it you leaving your body, or was it the moonshine?
I don't know. I was crying to my wife to call an ambulance. She's like, "I'm not calling you a fucking ambulance. Like, you're just do what you got to do, and we'll deal with you in the morning." So anyway, that was rough. It was a rough night. It was a good time though. But that was my experience in Tatamagouche. I'm sure a piece of me is still there. But yeah. So for my viewers that aren't too familiar with what's going on in Nova Scotia, we don't get that much stuff from Nova Scotia. And I don't know if you guys get very many beers from New Brunswick on the shelves, if you guys are shopping at NSLC at all.
I don't usually. We see a fair bit. We see some come from Bishop Cellar.
Okay. Yes.
Bishop Cellar. Yes. I'm sure there are other private stores in the city. I've never heard of them, but they do carry some New Brunswick beer as well.
Okay.
But I know that that's where I've seen a lot of it. I think the NSLC did have a couple of SKUs of. Help me out here.
They used to get some pickaroons.
Yeah, pickaroons, but that was a long time ago. Oh my gosh.
Four Rivers just got in there.
Yeah,
not that long ago. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of who else has shown up there. Like if for example, I would never buy if the NSLC got in like something like Trailway, I would never buy it.
No, the storage is just horrible.
Yeah, Grimross. Grimross. They did have some Grimross SKUs there, or at least one at one point. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Bishops tends to get in more than the LC would anyway. So we do see Trailway through Bishops.
Grimross. I think we've seen.
Yeah.
There's been some Petiso through there.
I'm gonna say yeah, we definitely seen some Petiso. Not a ton though. Frankly, like
Trailway moves. The thing is like Trailway shows up and people will buy it.
Yeah, it'll fly out super quick.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, as far as like brewers in Nova Scotia, you guys, I think you guys might have more than what we have in New Brunswick. It seems that way anyway.
I think the amount per capita kind of flips back and forth between the two provinces.
It's pretty close.
I don't know what the population of New Brunswick is. I feel like we have more breweries, but
I think I'm speaking out of just imagination, maybe 750,000.
Okay, yeah, I think we're just short of 1 million. So I think we usually have, per capita around the same amount. So we probably have a few more than you, but I can't keep track of them anymore. Like we've been doing this for 4.5 years or whatever, and I have no idea anymore. Places open, I'd never heard of them before. It's wild.
Yeah, it's hard.
I know that like the Craft Brewers Association, for example, says that they have 50 member breweries, but there are at least a couple handfuls of breweries that aren't members. So
not many of them want to be. Not all of them want to be part of that. Hop into that association.
Yeah, and I would say there's probably 60 at this point when I think of like the ones that have opened or are soon to open.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think like in the last year, like Serpent has opened, and what's that new one that opened recently? Starts with a C. Candid.
Candid, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're starting to see a few different breweries as well start popping up second locations. And those technically count as a brewery, yeah. Because they have to have a brew house in some of those spots, yeah.
Holy shit, so that's really getting into it.
So in Nova Scotia, you have to have a brewery on site to have a retail operation. So
yes, that's one thing I really want to touch on. So when you say a retail operation, like to-go cans, do breweries in Nova Scotia tend to support one another in those or can they?
You can't.
You can't.
So in New Brunswick, there's a few that can, right? I think it's like
everybody. If you're a brewery, you can.
So everybody can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if they don't, to me, like, what the fuck?
I think maybe
that's not the case.
It used to be that you had to have a certain level of production, and other breweries in New Brunswick and other breweries could only make up a certain portion of your sales. And I don't know how much that's changed, but in Nova Scotia, you can't sell anybody else's beer at all.
Unless you brew as a collaboration.
So not even on tap?
We've seen. No.
It depends on your license. It depends on your license. So you can sell on tap, for example, like Off Track, which is down the street from my house. They have their license allows them to have a couple of different breweries beer and like a couple different ciders on tap, as well as their own product. So and they have quite a few lines, so they're able to do that.
Okay.
But you have to have a special beverage room license to do that. And then the downside of the beverage room license is you can't have like kids or that kind of thing. Like you have to have food to have kids, and if you have food, you can't have like dogs on the patio, all that kind of foolishness. So just like the straight hospitality permit that every brewery has for like their tap room, you can't serve anybody else's beer. You have to have a separate license.
We're drinking in the 1800s here, but we're paying the 2000s prices.
I was gonna say this is crazy, and like we always seem to think that the grass is greener on the other side, but
I think there's give and take. I think on both sides that there are things from the New Brunswick side that I think producers here would like to see, but I also think that there's things on the Nova Scotia side maybe that New Brunswick producers might be interested in.
Well, you've got Bishop Cellar. You've got Bishop Cellar.
Right, so the private stores.
Right.
Yeah. So that there alone is, to me, in my opinion, would be like an amazing situation for New Brunswick.
Yeah, and it's still like the private stores are still weird here. Like there's only 4 of them, and 3 of them are basically this exact same and owned by the same people, even though they're not really owned by the same people.
Yeah, but we've never heard of them. You should only buy Bishop Cellar.
Yeah, Bishop Cellar is the only one.
Which, for all I'm concerned, is the only one. It's the only one I've ever heard of. So
perfect. So we were doing our job.
We're doing
absolutely.
So I guess, can I I don't know if people know who we are or anything like that. Can I talk about that just briefly, or do you want to save that for later?
No, absolutely.
So Kyle and I, we had another host who just recently left the podcast, Phil. We host a beer podcast sort of focused around the Atlantic region. I mean, we spend a lot of time talking to breweries in Nova Scotia, but we've done several road trips to New Brunswick, as well, so a whole pile of breweries there, as well as to Prince Edward Island, to visit a few places around the island there. What we do is we basically go and we talk to the brewers and sometimes the other staff that work at the breweries, and kind of tell the story behind, the beer that you're enjoying. And, sometimes we talk about new releases. Lately, where we can't go anywhere, Kyle and I are just trying to just drink beers and chat up new releases and stuff. But we've done some cool episodes where we visited, for example, Island Hop Farm on Prince Edward Island, and just talk about that operation before they've even kind of really taken off and got off the ground. The malt company on Prince Edward Island. We did another great episode there, and just really getting deep into the process. Of the actual ingredients. When we talk about beer, we're always talking about, hops this, barley this, yada yada. But for us, that specific trip last summer was really taking it to another level, where you get into the places where they're making the things that make the thing that you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was really, really cool. I highly recommend at least checking out those episodes. But you search through your favorite brewery in New Brunswick. We've done an episode with them. We've talked to Trailway. We've done Grimross. We did Greystone forever and ever ago. Maybe
it's still our number 1 listened to episode of all time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No idea why. But
we've done episodes for Factory Craft Beer Fest. We did my goodness. What's the brewery in Moncton that we did? I think they changed their name now. I can't remember. Grand Monk?
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is I can't remember what the name is now.
It slips my mind.
Yeah, but right now I think he's pretty well out of it.
They've gotten out of it, hey?
Yeah, I think the last I've heard, he had some equipment for sale.
Oh yeah, that's usually a bad sign.
Yeah.
Not to laugh because it's not funny, but we've spoken to Cavalcade, we've done Tide and Boar.
I think Grand Monk was their current name. I think it used to be Boar City.
Yes,
Boar City
that's what it was.
Yeah, so we talked with Chad at Tide and Boar.
Yeah,
definitely want to get back now and see the new space.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I haven't.
We're not allowed to
cross the border. Worst hangovers in my life after that episode. When we're allowed one day. Anyway, so there's search your favorite spot, even here on island, or in New Brunswick. We've been there. We've had a chat and talked about the beer, and it's just it's fun to share stories.
Yeah, and I really enjoy that about you guys' podcast. You guys really get into the breweries and like you said, tell the backstories, and you've been just about everywhere. It's I know Phil had done an episode with Oval way out in Gaspésie.
Yeah, he did a nice little bonus for us
really
a couple years ago.
Done just about anything, and that's really cool. And I really encourage all the viewers to head on over to. You guys can find your episodes just about any platform.
Yeah, you just search out BrewCast, it'll show up. It's on Spotify, it's everywhere else. I think I put the RSS feed everywhere I could.
Yeah,
but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to get those stories out, and for us, it's just been really interesting to share those stories and learn a little bit more about the different.
Yeah, at the same time of learning, something of sharing stories, you guys are learning even more and more about what's going on, what you're drinking, and this and that.
Exactly, and then I think the biggest thing is we've always been advocates of like going to the place.
Yes,
that's sort of been the cornerstone of our plan. You can, right? It's always been you can call around, you can do those type of things. I mean, obviously now that's what we're doing a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for us was always pack up the car, get the gear, say bye to the kids and the family for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Find a hole in the wall to sleep in, and just drink some beers and share some stories. It's really fun.
And I still don't think we've done any Zoom with people we haven't visited before,
except
with the exception of Block 3 in
and Breton.
Oh, in Breton, that's right. We had Cam on for that time. But yeah, like you said, like we really try to, if we're encouraging people to go to different breweries and check it out, then we certainly want to do that as well. So we've been to pretty near every corner of Nova Scotia.
That's awesome.
And definitely have some ground to cover in New Brunswick, as we haven't been there in a while, and certainly haven't been up to where you are. But
that's the thing with we where I'm at. It's such a trip to get anywhere. And the concentration of the breweries are basically they're all southern part of the province. So to me to get anything done on site is
which I guess is where the population is, I assume.
Oh yeah, that's where it's at.
Yeah. So 13 Barrels Brewery is a 4.5 hour drive from here.
That's not that bad.
It's not, I guess.
I thought you were living a lot further than that.
450 kilometers, it says.
By the way, the BrewCast flies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I guess, crow flying, I'm now drinking the Matinee by Two Crows.
Oh, nice.
Have to find a beer here in a minute. I didn't bring backups with me.
Me and Tiny Hoppy Lagers, forever and ever and ever.
I got a beer from Foghorn sitting on ice.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we've
done
Foghorn.
Foghorn, it's funny because I've known Esty for a while. I used to work in private beer sales.
Okay.
And I knew him from his Picaroons days.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny to we've kind of always wanted to hang out or drink a beer, and we've just been able to do that so many times. So or at least a handful of times. So it's always good to see him. Good old Esty.
It's good to see them with the new brewery opened up.
Yeah, which I haven't been there yet, and it's a sad thing. Like with me, with I can't really call it a podcast, but we'll call it whatever it is. It just started picking up when my daughter was born, and being that I was newborn, it's very hard to leave the house.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, very difficult. And then the year following that, COVID hit, so it's we're into the mess. And actually, the last time I was able to travel or do anything was at Fredericton Craft Beer Fest, which we met up there.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the kids thing, because between Kyle and myself, my first child was born before the podcast, but between the start of the podcast, currently there's been three children born between us.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so Kyle's had 2, and I had my second in August. So
wow, 2 in 4 years. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so mine are 4 and 1.5.
Holy shit!
So it's a bit of a zoo sometimes.
Five and a half and 9 months. It's pretty crazy, but
holy smokes!
And see, I was just thinking last night how bummed I was that I missed Fredericton last year, because it's like nothing has happened since.
Yeah.
I was texting Cam from Breton. He's like, "Man, the last time I got to have beer with anybody was Fredericton last year," and I was like,
same.
I missed that one.
Oh man, and it was a time. I mean, as always, you go to the Choice, the Nova Scotia, the table full of Nova Scotia folks, just getting on it, I guess is the only way to describe it.
Yeah, no, it was for me. It was my first time going there, and I was just coming back from Toronto, literally 2 days before I was in Toronto, came back here, and then down over to there. So
yeah, and I was there the 2 years before that. I was there in 18 and 19, I think, but I still have FOMO from that one. That was a year and a half ago.
Big FOMO.
I can't believe
I'm going to find a beer. You guys hang tight for a sec.
We'll chill for a sec.
Oh yeah. So while I was in Toronto, I was able to check out Bellwoods.
Oh, you kind of have to.
Oh, you can't.
When you go, you have to.
Yeah.
So they're one of my favorite Toronto breweries. I mean, I have family out there, so every year, it's been a couple years since I went, but I always find a couple and check off the list.
Yeah.
The last time I went to Great Lakes Brewing.
Oh, sweet.
And one of the sales guys there, Troy, he's like their marketing guy.
Yeah.
he took me on went on a tour with him. Lucas from Bishop Cellar hooked me up, or Ryan from Bishop Cellar. One of those two wonderful gentlemen hooked me up with him, and we had a nice little chat. We talked about beer. He took me around the brewery. I was drinking fresh Canuck Pale Ale right off the line before they even put the cap on the can. Oh man,
unreal! That's such a good beer.
And it's a giant. And like in Ontario, I don't understand. Like I would have that in my fridge all the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
Are we talking about Canuck? I just got here.
Yeah, it's like $3.60 a can or something.
It's $2.80.
Yeah. Oh, it's $2.80 a can in Ontario.
It might have gone. It might be $2.95 now, but it's sub $3.
Anyway, it's like it's $3 a can. Like, and it is consistently delicious.
Yes, without a doubt. And I wasn't able to go anywhere near there. Like, I was with a group of people that weren't maybe wanting to travel too much to breweries, but we were able to stumble into Bellwoods on Ossington Avenue. Yeah. $2.90. Holy,
I think when Bishops gets it, I think it's like $3.75. It's like one of the cheapest beers in the province when Bishops has it.
Holy jeez! And like Bishops, do they bring in quite a few of Great Lakes on somewhat of a regular basis?
They bring in some of the weird seasonals sometimes, right, Kyle?
Okay.
Yeah, so like they'll, usually they get in, Lake Effect is a seasonal. Usually they get Lake Effect. They get Octopus Wants to Fight sometimes, which I think now. I think that's now a year round for GLB.
It's a year round beer for sure.
And they've got in like some anniversary stouts a couple of years ago, but they bring in Canuck every now and then this year they brought in a couple other. There's like a New England IPA and there's a New England Pale Ale.
The Vienna Lager's in
Vienna
right now.
Lager.
That's in right now. Great Lake, the Canuck is out of stock at Bishops right now.
I checked. I just got an order from Bishops this morning, and they were out of Canuck when I ordered it.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of great breweries in Ontario.
So that's the fun thing with Bishop, how Bishops work. Like they can bring in some stuff from other provinces. I know that they can't get nothing from Quebec, or can they?
They can. Yeah, it's all depends on like who gets them what, and their orders depend a little bit on the SAQ, but they used to get in quite a bit of they get a lot of Dunham in still.
Oh yeah.
They used to get a lot of Trois Musketeers.
Yeah, we get that every now and then on the shelves.
They do. It's mostly Dunham that Bishops seems to get quite a bit. The other ones kind of like they get some DCL, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, like we had some Trois Musketeers.
You say it better than me.
On the shelves, and like it's just things that wouldn't necessarily move. Like we got Ceci n'est pas une gueuse.
Yep.
And the Oud Bruin, or however you pronounce that.
That beer is delicious.
Yeah, and it's right now it's sitting on a warm shelf, discounted.
That's the problem.
Big problem. Big problem.
The Baltic Porter ends up at Bishops every now and then, and that's
shit.
Tremendous beer.
But they brought in like two very specific types of beer for a population that more than likely isn't the palate's not developed for that at all.
Right.
Like bring in something that's more approachable. Like it's higher up on the exploration of craft beer anyway, I say. For bringing in something from Quebec that we don't necessarily get anything from Quebec either. So something new.
And I think Bishops, it kind of depends on what people want to get rid of. That's one of the problems they used to run into trying to get Trailways. Trailways, like, we can sell all of our beer here. Why would we take a hit and send it across the, over to Nova Scotia or whatever? But I think Bishops is getting a little more access to a few things.
Yeah, the issue, of course, too, is that the NSLC still takes their piece.
They do, yeah. It ends up.
Oh yeah.
It can get pretty expensive because the NSLC does certainly take their.
So price point wise, like when New Brunswick beer enters Nova Scotia through Bishop Cellar, is it a comparable price point to like in New Brunswick, or is it you guys are a lot more expensive?
It can be a bit higher. It depends. I think part of it is it depends on the wholesale price that the brewery sells it for, right? Like,
okay.
So when I think I want to say when they get like huge on hops, like I think it ends up being like $6.50 or something.
Okay, that's not too bad. I mean,
Like
I said,
it is more, but it's because Trailway's saying we want to sell it for this much, and SLC is saying, okay, well, we're going to take this much, and then Bishops is like, well, we can't lose money on this. So now I don't think
we have to charge this much.
They make almost nothing. I think they bring it in to get people exposed to new beers and
get people through the door.
The store.
I'm curious to find out what Trail would be in Quebec. They are there now. It's got to be over $6 a can.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
and I know they get some Bellwoods at Bishops and it ends up being pretty steep. But I think again that's Bellwood saying we don't want to lose money on this, and then again the NSLC takes their cut and so on and so forth. So
it's just hard to go there and grab 12 of them.
Yeah,
you're going to be paying a premium for it.
But I try whenever I try to get. Even if I'm ordering cocktail supplies from Bishops, I'll try and toss a few beers in there from wherever. Yeah,
I hope one day to be able to go down there and we're talking June, so until we can head on down through the provinces. So with the vaccine rate going good, so I got shot my I got my chip in my shoulder.
Yeah. Your Wi-Fi service got better though, right?
That's it. So I should be able to get good reception in the garage now, in the studio.
I got my first one on Saturday. Tony, you were a couple of days before me. I think you were Thursday or something.
Yes, sir.
So
that's good. That's good. Rollout's going good in Nova Scotia too.
It was going pretty slow, but it seems like it's picked up now. I think we're over half the province has one dose.
Yeah.
Anybody 12 and up can get it now, so
good. I'm really hoping that we can finally open up the borders, and I just want to go to Shop-Sur-Mer and just get a hold. I haven't had anything. I could get some stuff shipped in. I mean, but it's just
you gotta get a pretzel this time, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna have any money left for pretzels. Guaranteed.
You gotta try one. I heard they're good.
I know. I'll do my best. But Nova Scotia beers, I've always been a fan of.
There's a great beer being made at this way.
Yeah, I absolutely love it, and part of it when I see it show up here on the shelves, there's part of it is a whole lot of excitement, but it is absolutely wonderful beer. I had some stuff from Breton Brewing, some stuff from Big Spruce too. Just absolutely amazing stuff. Very, very good. Always happy to see on the shelves.
And some of that's like a novelty thing too, right? Like you see something new, you want to give it a try.
Yeah, and I wonder, I'm assuming that the saying goes for you folks in Nova Scotia seeing something from New Brunswick show up, where I wouldn't necessarily not be too excited to see. I mean, something new.
Yeah, we certainly we get excited whenever we see some fresh lagers from Grimross or something. Come in. I'm sure those are on every shelf in every store in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
But whenever we see
it's great stuff. And I mean, I think a big problem is AMBL's planogram. I don't know who the fuck works that shit out, but it's, you don't need to have a four wide skew of one beer. It's the shelf is big.
You were telling me that Two Crows, the Jamboree was planned out next to the ciders for a while,
with the ciders. So
no one knew what was what.
No, so definitely that wasn't with the beer category at all, which was sad.
Very sad.
And I swear, I could go in there and nitpick them every time I go into the store, but anyway, it's just I can't. And now they're located on they're not even with the Nova Scotia, we'll call it the import side of the shelves. They're on the slide outs with beers from Ontario. And so really, I don't know. It's just whoever plans out that planogram is just not thinking at all. So they're with Collective Arts and not really standing out as Collective Arts from Ontario. It's a great brewery, but you got something from a neighboring province just in Nova Scotia, and I think it should be because we from Ontario we don't get that many SKUs. Nova Scotia will get some stuff from Garrison. We'll get some stuff from Tatamagouche. Two Crows every now and then. We got some stuff from Spindrift too. So there is quite a good selection, like a shelf. It should be with the Nova Scotia beer. but it isn't. And we got some stuff from.
So you mentioned all those breweries you mentioned are all
Yeah.
association members except for Two Crows.
Okay. Huh. So maybe something's got to do with them getting into the province.
I'm not saying there is or isn't. I just find that very interesting when you mention all those breweries and then you say Two Crows. It's just,
Yeah.
They're all the bigger ones too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got well, I know you guys aren't fans of them, but we got 9 Locks. It's got a couple 9 Locks.
No comment.
Yeah. So we got them on the shelves here as well. But definitely no excitement seeing them there. But yeah, that's what we got here on the shelves. Quite a bit.
Probably some Boxing Rock too, maybe.
Yes, they've been here quite a bit. What do they have? They had some weird SKUs come in. I can't put my finger on exactly which one they had, but they had the Vickers Cross here for quite a while, which is a really good one. And then they had
that beer is deadly.
Very much. And when I just want a strong beer, it was great. The heavy malt and just a strong double IPA.
It's like off we go.
Yeah,
crush it over of 8% beer.
Yeah, you're writing off your day right there. That's it. You're done. And then they've got their, I think it's a barley wine that they have.
Oh, the Fisticuffs.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had it, but it's been on the shelves forever.
It's a holiday SKU. I find that like the station store in Fredericton, they had a lot of bottles there, but they had a lot of the same bottles there. The 2 consecutive years I went there the first time. It's like some bottles. Stuff is. They would be. That's my assumption. A lot of them are the brewery from Old Labels and all this other to California. And you're just like, well, it just. I don't know. It's hard to do because I think the AMBL has to buy in quantities that make sense.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. So but are those shelved in the best way?
No. I can't imagine they would be. But
on the station store, they weren't in the sunlight. That was a plus.
Yeah, I mean, yes, when they're in the store, yeah, they're stored properly. They're stored in the cold. Most times they will make some displays out in the room temp, very warm areas, which I find is just, I don't understand what's going through their minds. That's what I find is so difficult with having beer being sold in corporate stores and not being sold in private stores. It's the lack of knowledge of just it's basic knowledge of how to store beer.
I think it's a corporate mentality of you gotta this old school idea of just market for marketing's sake and get things paying for shelf space and all those things that happen at major retailers.
You walk into any MBL and you got this huge display when you're walking in of New Brunswick beer right at the door on just these cardboard shelves. Who's going to grab that? And whoever does is not going to get a well-represented beer in their glass. I mean, it's been sitting there room temp for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I know having worked, liquor retail for a while in a private store. One of the things is that to move this beer, you have to have somebody there, and you have to hand those are hand sells. You have to.
Yeah.
You gotta walk the person through what it is, and the AMBL just doesn't that's not their they're like the NSLC. Their job is to move beer and move wine and move spirits with as little interaction as possible, as fast as they can, with as many transactions as possible.
That's it. And with their new volume regulations, I don't know if they brought them in or not, but if you couldn't sell this many a certain volume of cans, you couldn't have a SKU in the store.
We call that the Nova Scotia approach to beer management. That's how they do it at the NSLC.
Really?
Right now, that's how they do it at the NSLC. And so, to me, it's pretty funny because everybody's cozy with the NSLC up until probably another year out from an election, and now everybody's cozying up to the opposing party, who's saying all the criticisms that people have been throwing around for a long time about the NSLC, but now that it's becoming a political issue just because it can. Folks are jumping on that bandwagon pretty quick, but industry association members could have been vocal about these issues a long time ago, and just they chose not to because they wanted to be nice and make good with the hand that fed them. So I don't know. It's like how long do you want to, obviously you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, but in the same vein, like how long are you willing to just put up with it? Only until a pandemic hits that it's okay to start talking negatively about the producer, the retailer. There are lots of problems, but nice to Foghorn.
Oh yeah.
Well, there are lots of problems with the NSLC. It's just only now people are talking about it because it's convenient and people are hurting.
Like the most recent Auditor General's report found that people were being delisted for basically like no good reason. Like there was just no real documented process or whatever. And then what we've heard before is also like if you have to be in this certain price band. If you want to move down a price band, fine, but all of a sudden you're competing against the macro beers at that price band and you're going to be basically delisted instantly. So
holy smokes,
a whole lot of factors at play, and they all involve dollar signs, it seems. And
my favorite Phil quote still is that craft beer or whatever, but it's the people that should be the most upset in this province are the macro drinkers, because they are getting housed by the province.
Oh yeah,
like just
time.
Raked over the coals at like 2 to 3 times what they could be paying for that beer. Easy.
Yeah,
like I have no issue paying for quality. I have no issue, but like the price it costs to make a can of Bud Light, like even if you factor in shipping and distribution and all the money that changes hands to get things on the shelves, it's still like we're talking like $1 a can, maybe.
Oh,
that's right. That's a lot, $1 a can though.
Like maybe that's just I'm rounding up, but like even then, like a 50% markup on $1 a can, like but that's not. It's like it's several times that. And
so what does like a macro 12-pack go for in Nova Scotia?
23, 24?
23, 24 bucks.
Okay, you guys
maybe more.
See, we're around the 25 mark, I think.
To be honest with you, I haven't bought I bought a rack of macro in a while, so.
I think that the price point for like the Propeller Prime is like 23 or 24, so I assume that the macro is that or maybe a buck below type thing.
AMBL
right I'm looking right now.
Are you looking at AMBL?
I'm looking at SLC because that's where my province is. So 12-pack of Budweiser Light. They have it in 15 packs. It's $30.99. I'm trying to find a 12-pack. I'm not really great at
12-pack of Alpine bottles be $25.79.
Okay.
Yeah. Bottles.
Yeah, bottles. There's no 12-pack cans.
Here we go, 12. Okay. $26.49 for bottles, a 12-pack, because they don't do 12-pack cans. That's interesting.
Huh.
Anyway, so that's your so it's like $26.50. But
and us, like, we've obviously got
in comparison, like you can get something like, oh, this will be a great segue. Sorry, if my internet gets fucked up, I apologize.
I see where you're going with the segue.
It's fine now. If for example, like Prime, you're saying Prime Lager, that's like, what did you say, Kyle? It's like $25-$26 or something.
I think it's something in that ballpark.
Right, so it's relatively cheap for craft beer. I mean, it's a light lager. It's super crushable. But it's the same thing with the taller, which is like
it's 24.
So the taller is the same thing. It's like $24 or something like that.
Yeah. And then in New Brunswick, we've got the brand new released Fetch Pale Ale from
which you were saying I haven't looked it up because my computer keeps chugging along every time I open something. Trail Fetch, you said the can's pretty similar. I'm gonna look it up and y'all can watch my reaction.
So you haven't seen the Fetch yet?
No, I haven't seen the Fetch.
Oh.
Here we go. Let's take a look. $27 for 12-pack.
It's a great price.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
A big old dog on it.
I like that they haven't like in their in the on the website, they don't have the dog prominently. The box,
No?
the dog on the box is not prominent. Like it's
Okay.
tilted backwards, but on the can you can see the pupper.
Yeah.
But it's a Saint Bernard. It's not a taller.
That's right. And I think that Toller, though, isn't there like a beer in Letterkenny that's like a dog
Pupper.
logo?
Pupper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I feel
Okay,
like
so it
Toller
is. It's like a popular design.
I think Toller is I always thought it was kind of a play on that Pupper beer, but
I think it was.
so
Okay.
now New Brunswick's getting in on the action.
Yeah.
I see.
Which is, I mean, it's fun. I found it extremely funny that it would be like the same kind of concept of just an approachable, affordable light beer, going with the same
With a
type of
dog on the can.
dog on the can, like I don't know.
Like, I'm all for it. I think it's kind of funny that like it took this long for people to catch on that was a thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like crushable, easy drinking lager, like was people were always super hip on it around here, but like in terms of it, like people were always drinking like Olin's and shit.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. But so then you had like the Killick was sort of, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong. And breweries, you can at me if you like, but I think Killick really started that around here anyway. That like craft produced like,
and we had Killick here for a while, and now that I'm thinking back of it, Kyle and I were talking about that right before we started recording, and I mentioned that Killick was in a 4-pack, and I'm thinking back now, it was always in a 6-pack.
Yeah.
So
they used to sell some 4-packs of Tall Boys, but Killick's always been in the 6er. They just moved from like a pack tech to like a cardboard box, I think.
Yes, that's what they did. And for some reason, the box just wasn't catching my eye, and I should still be buying it. I'd buy that on a regular basis. That 6-pack. What do you got there?
Oh, that's niche.
Holy shit!
I figure if I'm drinking Brunswick beer, I might as well drink a New Brunswick beer.
Wow, you're lucky to still have one.
Don't worry, I'll drink it out of my niche glass.
I don't know if I said it. I'm into this Propeller Wild IPA now. I don't know if I said that.
No, you didn't.
But it was a Brett IPA that was aged in wine barrels, and then it was blended, I think, with a fresh one with Nelson Sauvin. So you got a lot of kind of white wine vibes. But
I like that beer a lot. It's
nice
really
mango.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's really nice.
It was just a one-off though.
Yeah, I think it was pretty limited just based on like they had to barrel age it, so there's only so many.
Yeah, but Propeller's pretty well constant on the shelves here in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got right now. I think they've got the Bohemian Pilsner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's just been on the shelves for a long time.
They've made
Sometimes we'll get their kind of one-offs.
True classic, the Bohemian Pilsner.
Oh, they've got that. They got a couple of 6-packs too. So they got their IPA. They got what else they got in 6-pack in bottles? I can't remember exactly.
Bitter maybe like the ESB.
Yeah, more than likely gonna have that. The red packaging.
They have the rye IPA.
I don't think so.
Probably the Cascade, the pale ale.
Yes, the Cascade. Yeah, they got a couple of SKUs. That and
do you Galaxy there?
That's a great beer.
Fuck. I'm very disappointed in the Bathurst population. We had Galaxy here. It stayed there. It smells good. I'm gonna let Tony.
This smells fucking delicious.
So we had Galaxy here. It's fresh. I bought a bunch. Nobody else bought some. Right now, I'm ashamed to say where it's at. It's on the discount rack.
Oh no.
Oof.
I thought you were gonna say that you were disappointed in Galaxy at first, and I was like, I'm just gonna hang up this call right now.
Fuck. It's an amazing beer. It's a wonderful beer. It's such a great beer.
Yeah.
But just people didn't grasp to it, and I think I made a post about it. I hope I did, so I can get the date, because it is still on a warm shelf right now.
Oh, that can't be great.
Fellas, I'm going on a ride right now. This beer is insane.
He's on a trip.
I gotta find that. It's got to be.
Rest in peace, niche.
Yeah.
How are you guys dealing with all that? Like, who's filling that void?
You know what, Niche? I wasn't able to get very many of that beer, to be honest, because they were only selling out of their brewery, so I wasn't any distribution whatsoever. That's which is sad.
They did see some of their bottles go to the AMBL, but they also had a lot of bar distro.
Yeah, so like when special beers like that do get to NBL, they'll just stick in Fredericton.
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
This was something fancy anyway. This was worth.
Maybe you didn't take a picture of the can.
Very glad.
I was gonna say I scrolled back pretty far. I haven't found it yet.
Maybe you put in your stories.
That's horrible that I didn't take a picture of it.
Yeah, I got back to you posted the Propeller Double Dry Hop.
Oh, here it is. January 28, 2020.
Oh God, that's like.
Oh, it's still there?
It's still there. It's
wow.
So fucking sad.
Oof.
I'm disappointed.
That's gotta go.
Yeah. So
somebody go rescue that beer and put it down the drain where it belongs.
Yeah, it's gotta go now.
Yep. No. So like you can't.
No need for that.
No, and that's the sad thing. The same thing happened when we got Headstock from Nickelbrook.
Oh yeah.
Yep. It just stayed there.
Now that beer was one of those beers that like was like where when I worked private retail, like it was dirt cheap, super effective, very well made. And it was really popular. We used to sell it by, 4 or 5. I mean, that was just the people that were coming in. But like,
yeah, like
I always took home. It was my like I'm gonna have a single beer, but it like was really good. I wish I could share this bottle with you guys.
I'm enjoying it telepathically. You're giving a good representation of how good it is. And I'll mention that this one here, the Tabula Rasa New England Pale Ale, is pretty fantastic too.
Tony, I feel like I can smell that across town.
You get the crushed candy, that like bready kind of. It's just right where it needs to be right now.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so it's very sad to see like these great beers coming in and just kind of fuck. We still got some stuff from what's that brewery? That Farmhouse. They came out with a bunch of Farmhouse bottles.
Valerie?
Yeah, we still got some of those on the shelves.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We recently
they're closed.
I know, and they're still on the shelves. Like
we
on the discount shelf.
On Phil's last episode, we drank some Valerie for fun.
Was it any good?
It was not fun.
It tasted like a colonoscopy.
It was disgusting. The ones that didn't explode when we opened them, we tried to sip, and then we just dumped them all.
I
think there was one that was so bad that you wouldn't even touch it because Phil and I were like retching.
No, you guys were literally. I thought you were gonna be sick.
I thought like there was a point where I thought I was gonna vomit. Like we were retching and running around Phil's kitchen, and screaming at the top of our lungs.
I wouldn't touch it.
Because no, not doing it. No, I'm not gonna drink it. No.
And like it was a really interesting brewery when it opened up, and like at first I was okay with the Farmhouse. I really liked it, and then I don't know what happened to the brewery.
I don't think I had anything until that stuff at Phil's house, so I have nothing to compare it to.
I don't think it aged very well.
That was rough.
Yeah, and
I don't think it came out very well.
No,
we were going to record an episode with them a couple of years back.
Yeah,
and they were like, nah, like very quickly, like they were just not interested.
Really?
Well, though they were all for it, and then like the day before we went, they were just like, nope. Huh. But I think it coincided with a listener of ours, Phil Nickerson, shredding their beer.
Oh yeah,
like he was just being honest, and like Phil's an honest guy.
Yeah,
I love having conversations with him, but he just like tore a strip off him.
Yeah,
it was well deserved too.
Yeah,
from what I understand, but I don't know. It's tough to say. Like I think from a plan perspective, it seemed like it could have or should have worked.
Yeah, but like again, like the marketing of the bottles was just shit. Like,
Yeah.
a black label on a brown bottle was just not, to me anyways. To me, the marketing plays a factor in, it's a crowded market. You gotta stand out. And
You do. You have to make your mark. You have to stand out. You've got to be interesting. And I think they had conceptually, like I said, I think the concept of the beer.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard about it, I was like, I'm all for this. I'm ready. Like, sign me up. I'll wait a while for the beer. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. And then you start hearing rumblings here and there about like, well, maybe it's not. And you're just like, it's just a passion project that maybe got out of hand.
That's it. It had a good potential. And sad to see it go like that. And of new brewers in New Brunswick, have you guys had anything from Tire Shack yet?
I've had a couple
No.
at the Fredericton Craft Beer Fest.
Okay, were they there?
They're in Sackville?
They're in Moncton. They had a couple good beers. They were doing some cool things. They had like a s'mores porter or something like that, where they were like putting toasted marshmallows on there, and it was kind of fun. Yeah. But I had their New England IPA. I really liked it. They're like, I'm a sucker for aesthetics, so I was all into the garage setup and the canning and like. Next time I go to Moncton, I'm stopping in. I have to go say hi. So
yeah, it's I'll call it the most hipster brewery in New Brunswick. It's spot on to what it needs to be, but really aesthetically pleasing, like you said. And I mean, their labels are just kick ass, and they're putting some pretty good beers out there too.
That's good.
Yeah, I've heard good things. I haven't been.
Yeah, and obviously Titan Boar's new space is
it's high on my list.
Absolutely ridiculously awesome.
That's the top of my Moncton list.
Yeah, absolutely. When the border opens, you gotta get to it.
Yeah. Give me some square pizzas and some beers.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a great spot. I started off the Moncton the craft beer week beer tour of the breweries. I started it off there at Titan Boar, and it's a great place to start. I had their it was their rhubarb sour Otis.
Okay.
Which is absolutely
so
amazing. Like, just 11 o'clock in the morning. It's a brunch beer.
Yeah.
Just punch of rhubarb. Very, very tart and just fresh fruit, and absolutely amazing. Sweet. The last sour Otis I had was the peach one they had, the bottled, which I don't think they bottled anything.
I don't know, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, peach and raspberry. I think we had both of them. I think we did them back to back.
Yeah, you guys are good at aging stuff. I can't hold on to beer. Like,
the trick is to buy so much that it outpaces your consumption.
That's what I got a hard time with. To outpace my consumption, it's so fucking difficult.
It's also like, if I can get it past like a few months in my mind, it's lost.
That's it. If you get past that point, that breaking point, but
the stuff that's been in there now for years, I just forget that exists.
And some of it may not be good anymore, right? Like some but that's like,
it's a gamble.
But that's sort of the fun of it, right? Like, and then the other side of it is when you open a beer, you're just like completely blown away by what it tastes like.
How it developed and just. But I was never able to. I had maybe one bottle aged for about 8 months, and I was saving it for when we would get pregnant. And I said, "Fuck it, I'm going to drink it." We got pregnant soon after.
Maybe that was the.
Yeah, who knows? That was what we were waiting on.
I'm just trying to think what the oldest bottle in my fridge or my cellar is. I think I have a bottle of. It's got to be a bottle of something from Ommegang. It's got to be a Three Philosophers bottle or something like that. That's been sitting in there for years and years.
Well, I have a 2013 Utopias that's not quite empty in there. But I don't know what else I have. Nothing. I would say nothing older than like 2017. Oh, I have a barrel aged 2016 Saison Pinot.
Oh yeah, right. And that's the thing is like you get some weird stuff that you've just like held on to. And you're like, well, maybe I'll save it for special occasion. Yeah. What I've started doing is now like we like on Saturday night we'll have like once the kids are in bed, it's just like we'll just rip into something and like if it sucks, I'll just pour it down the drain.
Yeah.
No big deal. But like I've got to go through. I bought a chunk of a friend of mine's cellar for a pretty nice price. So like I've got a lot of newer, well, not newer, but I've got a lot of stuff that like I'm just gonna slowly have to work through.
So what did Phil do with his cellar? I know he had
Drank it and it did a couple giveaways. Drank it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
had a couple giveaways.
He did
Okay.
some
And he
raffles.
I think he moved a bunch to his dad's place too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I remember
the good,
seeing a few pictures, and he had a ton of stuff.
yeah, the good stuff I think is in his dad's basement.
Okay.
He did a couple like raffles or
Yeah,
giveaways.
I had seen that.
And
Yeah.
then we drank a few of them for sure.
Nice. Cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. I think he gave me a 2015 parabola that I drank the other weekend.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was a ripping
Nice.
good
I
bottle.
haven't ripped in yet to what he gave me, but I think it's a heavy hitter.
Speaking of Phil, we'll do another segue. Which since he's the only one who participated in my my Instagram story question, I thought I'd get at least 2 questions. But anyways, we got Phil to collaborate in into the podcast.
He's always with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's looking to find out, since he is gone, who is the best looking beer caster since he's gone. So
I mean, that's hard to say.
are we going to vote?
How,
Who are the candidates?
It's me and Kyle, obviously.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave it up to the listeners, maybe.
Yeah, we'll leave that up to the listeners. Drop a comment or send us a mean message.
Yeah. If
So
it's mean, make it private.
And I'll figure out the prize later on.
Okay. Deal.
And the other question he had, which you guys will be able to you'll have easier time getting into it. So on a more serious note,
this is a much more serious note.
Yeah.
yes. So you guys will be able to really get into it. I for some reason I couldn't really get a grasp of what it was saying. I kind of think I know what it is. So takes on a reaction from breweries and alcoholics in the Maritimes regarding the current reckoning.
I don't know if you meant alcoholics or alcohol producers.
He specifically wrote down alcoholics.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm pretty fluent in Phil, but I don't know about that.
What could have been a typo?
so I think I know what he's talking about. I'm pretty sure
Me
he
too.
is that a couple of weeks ago, a brewer, Brianne Allen, who I think her Instagram handle is Rat Magnet.
Rat
I believe
Magnet,
you're
yeah.
right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she went on. She was talking about experiencing sexism in the beer industry.
Yeah.
On her Instagram page, and it started turning into this mass call out of industry members all around the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
About these stories of sexual assault and harassment and all of that, and some of the there are accusations about a ton of different brewers and people, and not counting distributors and other people that work within the industry, and obviously
Or even patrons.
unfortunately, and patrons, and that was the other thing is I unfortunately have to say obviously patrons, and to move it to from a local perspective. So we recorded an episode last week or a couple weeks ago, sort of just after this broke. So I hadn't had time to digest it. So it didn't make topic of the episode. So just kind of community brought it up, but I kind of wanted to, as I said before we started recording, I was going to mention this on our next episode. I still will. First and foremost, I think supporting women within this beer industry is obviously super important, and believing women and believing these stories and understanding the magnitude and the depth and the breadth at which an industry like this or any industry, any workplace, these things happen. And when people take the time and bring themselves to be able to actually share those stories, it's incredibly courageous, and it's incredibly
not
important.
an easy thing at all to do.
No, and it's incredibly important to support those people and do what you can, and also equally as important to stomp those things out when you see them, and to call it out when you experience it. So
Yeah,
I mean,
like you
from
said,
a
like
local,
not to be afraid to call it out and put a stop to it, like immediately.
And I think, like you mentioned too, I mean, I think it's important to be mindful of that when you're out with friends or whoever at places, and I think everybody's got friends that make jokes that are in poor taste. I think it's important to make sure that we're being mindful of that and saying, hey, like this isn't something that we do.
No, it's simply not right, and
it's off base. It doesn't like beer. Like ideally, I think beer is a place for everybody. There's a lot of room at the table.
Yeah.
I think the industry itself, for decades and decades, is marketed towards. The marketing was geared towards men, and sexualizing women. You look at the old Bud Light ads, and lampooned to death in The Simpsons by Duff Beer. And they did a really good job. Like they've done a consistent good job of calling out that in a way that is The Simpsons-esque. Like I'm a huge Simpsons nerd, but like calling that out, and I think that there's been a move to get away from that in some regards, but with distributors and people that work in the industry and customers, like old habits die hard, and you have to like support people, be there for people, and it's not just sexism, it's racism, it's gender-based violence, all that stuff, people's identities, all that, like being supported. Like it's just so easy to not be an asshole. Like
it's so simple, so simple.
Like just waking up and choosing to be an asshole is so much work. When instead you could just wake up and be a good person and just be supportive of people. And it blows my and this is for me like a point of privilege. It blows my mind that this is a thing, but like maybe that's just because I see these things as wrong and I don't want to. I wouldn't do them, but like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind we here are three white dudes.
With various stages of facial hair.
Yes, right. Yeah, and I think Phil's question mentioned reckoning. There hasn't been a ton of publicized things going on locally, but by no means does that mean that this isn't taking place here. There's certainly.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the thing that went on with 9 Locks, or like we alluded to that, and there's a lot of support around the scene, but there's an equal amount of people being like, it's just 9 Locks doing its thing. You're just like, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, the breweries that I've seen a public response from are the breweries that I know have real ingrained values within their businesses. I think North Brewing, Two Crows, like those are the first two that come off the top of my head.
Oh yeah,
where those values are deeply ingrained in their businesses, and they care about those things deeply, and they're driving forces. I think within our beer scene, I think both again put out not industry association members, because I'm sure the Craft Beer Association of Nova Scotia will put out a statement in a year about this, because that's how long it takes them to do anything. I'm a big critic of that, because they're slow to react because of who runs it and who the larger members. It's like the Brewery Association in the United States, also very slow to react because they care about the biggest members and the interests of the biggest members, and the interests of the biggest members are to not draw attention to themselves. That's what the interest is, right?
They'll push it as far as they possibly can.
No, it's ignore it until it goes away. Is the that's the strategy, and it's the same when approached about racism or other issues within the industry. The easy thing to do is just ignore it.
Yeah, and not say anything about it.
Right? I mean, because you can hope it goes away, because craft beer. Sorry, I'm running my mouth a lot.
That's all right.
The craft beer Twitter, beer Instagram, it moves in phases, right? So something will come up, something will come up, something will come up, and it's the next thing, it's the next thing. Yep. So the hope is you could just ride the wave long enough that people will stop pointing their finger at you. And it's such a stupid strategy, because there are people that care. Like like myself and women in this industry and people of different backgrounds within the industry, they notice and they care and they see, and then they just move on and they find somewhere else to go if you don't want to step up and say something.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
well, I mean, you talk about C-Bands and North and Two Crows. Those are breweries that were members until either a lack of reaction or a poor reaction or poor decision making caused them to rescind their membership, right? Like, they're not there's new breweries
publicly rescind their membership.
There are new breweries who never joined C-Bands, and that is what it is. But then having breweries who publicly leave the association is a whole other ballgame.
Yeah, definitely. You're just putting your foot down. And as far as New Brunswick is concerned, I don't think that any breweries has really stepped up with any kind of statement so far on these issues. Not that I've seen.
Not that I've seen, and I frankly, like, I probably don't follow as many. I probably haven't followed that many New Brunswick breweries in a while on social, but haven't seen much. And
my temperature check is always NB beer memes.
Yeah,
that's my temperature check. So.
Yeah.
New Brunswick doesn't have the same type of brewers association that we have here, correct?
No,
there's no like NB Brewers Association or whatever.
It's a craft alcohol.
It's for everybody.
They'll group them all together.
Kind of. Right. So yeah, I mean, like there hasn't really been a big thing here right now, but again, that's not to say that it's not taking place. That's not. I've been at a tap room before with and I watched female members of the industry go to the bar to be served by another female member of the industry, and just like be whoever it was, but it's just being talked down to, assume they don't know anything about the beer. It's like, well,
that's horrible.
Like, this person literally is a key member of a local brewery, and it's it's a big spectrum, but it's all trash, and hopefully we can see an end to it, but it's got to be an every person doing their part type thing, right? Like I said, like, you go to a bar with your buddies, any of that type of talk or any of that type of joking around, whatever, like, we gotta
don't be an asshole.
Put an end to that. Don't be an asshole. I mean, Tony, you got it.
It's so easy. It's so easy to choose to be a good person.
Yeah,
it doesn't cost you. It doesn't cost you anything.
No. And like you said, it's like hard to be an asshole.
It's just so much easier to focus your attention on making change that's positive, as opposed to just being, maybe this sounds hypocritical. I'm pretty, like, when I'm poking like on Twitter, my Twitter account, like, when I poke the bear, like, I'm poking various things all the time and making fun of things. It is kind of in a negative light, but I'm always trying to be kind of jokesy about it.
Yeah.
But why? I don't know. Well, I just don't understand why it's so hard.
I know.
It's not hard, right? That's the thing.
No.
It's like, it's truly not hard.
No. Just be a nice guy or a nice person, and just.
And like, when we put our episode out last week, like, it was sort of in the midst of all this. I didn't want to post anything drawing attention to our new episode in the midst of all this, because I think, beer Instagram, but like, I'm also like, I'm one of those, like, I believe in just doing things and not drawing attention to the fact that I'm trying to do the right thing, and signaling that I'm just doing the right thing, yada yada yada. All the time.
Just
it doesn't help. But like, leaving people space to have these conversations without clouding it out with more of my own bullshit that in the end doesn't really matter, because what I do, Kyle, no offense, our podcast doesn't do fucking shit. Like,
no.
I'll claim victory over some things for jokes and stuff, but like, we're really just like a couple of fellas just having a chat. But like, there are huge issues in the industry that I can only begin to hope to empathize with and understand, because my perspective is that it is very different from people who experience like real damaging issues, whether it's in the beer industry or anywhere else, anytime. Right? Like, okay, so today, sorry, I'm rambling now, and I apologize if I'm railroads.
That doesn't matter at all. Got all kinds of time.
In Nova Scotia, our government handed a very easy and easily found carrot to the Alcohol Producers Association, the alcohol producers in the province, and the bars and restaurants, and it finally allowed for people with liquor licenses to sell cocktails to go in the midst of a pandemic where they can't have people in the bars and restaurants. Probably what is going to amount to weeks before, or maybe even a week, or maybe even less, before they open things up a little bit more. So obviously the easiest, lowest hanging fruit of all time. And somebody mentioned as well that, like, what they should also allow for in Nova Scotia for people to have a drink in a park. And my gut check reaction to that question was like, oh, we'll just do it. Just don't be an asshole. Don't make a mess, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
And, somebody quickly pointed out to me that's like, that's easy for me to say when someone who's a different skin color of me and maybe is with a group of different people wouldn't be able to just say, like, don't be an asshole, because the laws, the way that they're written in this province, are designed to allow people to allow the authorities to oppress people, right? So it's a quick check for me to say, like, oh, it's easy to be, I guess what I'm saying is, like, you kind of have to be aware that other people's perspectives are real, and they're, just because it's different than yours, just because you have an easy time navigating literally everything, doesn't mean that people don't run into serious problems. And
you're right.
I don't know. In my position at work, in the work that I do, I'm trying to tackle systems from my own on the inside, right? Like, these are things like there's work to be done. And you just have to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point, right? Like, you and I have had many beers in many places where you're probably not supposed to have beers. And our worst case outcome is someone tells us to pour it out, right?
Yeah.
And that certainly is not worst case outcome for many people. So you're right. You got to be mindful of your perspective on this stuff.
Yeah,
it's real, man. It's real. This shit is real, and people do it.
And it's hard to wrap your head around, right? Like,
it is very hard. Yeah, like
it's hard to wrap your head around, as like you and all of us. Beer has been marketed to us, since beer was invented, right?
Yeah,
and it's you gotta. Same with anything right now, and always, you gotta be mindful of what other people's experiences are, what other people's viewpoints are, what other people's access points are. That, like, it's not the same as yours, and that's great. But we got to figure out how to make sure that there's, everyone's feeling comfortable, that there's room for everybody at the table, and
absolutely,
and that you're not being a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
that's what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's
you think
such a
like
simple thing to do, not being an asshole, and just like, it just be all right with everybody.
It's like deriving an equation. You get right down to the end, is don't be an asshole.
It's such a huge subject, and it just comes down to not being an asshole, and it's a quick remedy, and I think that there's no fucking reason why.
There's definitely times where you have to actively ensure that you're not being an asshole, but at the end of the day, if you're not an asshole, you're probably in the clear.
Yeah, but if you see someone being an asshole, call them out.
That's right. Yeah, that's key too.
Yeah, and don't be shy. Don't be shy to do it.
My other thing to do is, like, and I talk about Twitter, is that like after a few messages, like, to like the party that be, especially if it's like the NSLC or AMBL or whatever, just stop tagging them in the post. The poor the poor social media person will not be able to do anything. But I guarantee you, and I will guarantee you, because I know this, they have to talk about it to somebody else.
Yes.
That's it. We have a friend who's a friend of a social media person for the NSLC, and every once in a while,
used to be.
Every once in a while, we'll get a message, and it's like, "All right, guys." It's like,
that's great. That's great. And I stopped tagging them. Me too.
Channels. It's never through the official channels, but it's like someone messages us and said, "Listen, guys, like, you gotta give it a break."
And like me too. Like I stopped tagging AMBL, and I try not to do it as often. but it's just.
I mean, do it once in a while, but like the trick is you just kind of like don't just hit them with reply after reply because like it's like
No, you're talking to a wall. They're basically you're not getting any point across at all.
And we know,
the CEO of the NBL or NSLC.
He is definitely not fucking seeing that.
He's definitely sitting there on Twitter being like, "Oh, those fucking beer nerds again."
Yeah, like I know I shared that a few posts about Fine Company. I know I never got any replies.
I'm so glad we got to this.
I know we
so glad
we have
talking about New Brunswick beers in Nova Scotia.
We've received notification before though that somebody at the NSLC listens to the show. We've understood before that somewhere somebody listens to it.
That's good.
Do they have any poll? Probably not. But
yeah.
Anyway, Fine Company.
Boo.
Boo is right.
Oh, thank you.
That's horrible stuff. I mean, it's
that's Molson, right? That's what I'm just being.
It is Molson,
100% Molson.
So that's Molson pretending to be craft beer.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the NSLC in a while. All I ever do is there's a brand of vermouth I like that Bishop's doesn't carry, and I go to the NSLC to buy it.
Okay.
But I don't go look at the beer cooler or whatever. So I don't know what the facings.
You don't go and try and steal the rock tequila rock thing. Because I am 100% going to do that. Me and Dwayne are going to lift weights in my basement. Me and Dwayne.
We got a listener that works at the Mill Cove NSLC. Ask him for it. I'll take down the display at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people that have spoken for the rock.
I had a Taylor Swift cutout from Future Shop for a while when 1989 came out, when we got rid of the display.
Oh shit.
Yeah, my friend Catherine had it after me for a while, but she got rid of it recently, which is sad because I would have it right here.
That would look great in the background.
It would be on brand for me for sure.
Yeah. Fine Company. It's horrible what they did there, and I feel like they seem to have calmed down a little bit, but really like
it's all about marketing, man. That's all this shit is, right? It's the same thing,
and it's
like
pure fucking bullshit. Like, and it's like I'm glad to see that they never really gained any traction. So I'm just curiously going to go and look on their Facebook page to see how many
about them before.
Oh yeah, I never tagged them into the post. Fine Company Brewing.
Because I remember back in
with all the marketing they did, they put a shit ton of money into it. They've got 239 follows on Facebook. That's sad.
Actually, I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
Instagram, well, and I think it's because I think people that like beer.
Yeah, well,
maybe I'm generalizing, but I think people that like beer saw through that. So easily.
Right. And I'm hoping that they did because it was pushed so fucking hard.
Yeah,
so hard.
That's the thing. It's like, but that's an alarm bell for most people, right?
Yes.
Right, like when something's marketed that hard, you see that many posts on Instagram, like sponsored posts on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
you start to see so many advertisements. You're like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, and like
in this show,
the design company had a sponsored post for the beer. I mean, it's understandable that the design company would have just a regular post, but a sponsored post. So Fine Company paid the design company or design company however they did their dealings, but the design company had a sponsored post.
So they have 794 followers on Instagram.
That's less than the BrewCast.
I remember. Oh wait, it's less than you or I think. But it's like back in December, the Coast had like a sponsored ad from them. And
I'm not surprised. The Coast is for sale worse than the BrewCast is.
The only comment on the post is me being like, WTF, why are you shilling for Molson? And it's the only comment on the post. But you're right. I think that like if you look at the Venn diagram, there's like people that want to drink Molson products, and then there's people who are really into beer, and there's no overlap. And like that's where this beer wants to exist. Is it wants to pull the wool over on macro.
But the way that it was being marketed, like I have to frequent ANBL because there's no other place to get the craft beer.
Yeah.
They had the cashiers. So this can't be that they must be given a script. People who are working the cash
Yes, they are. They are giving us
I'm
a
sure
shared
they
toll.
are.
It's paid.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
paid marketing, man. They give the AMBL money to put the stuff on the shelves,
So
and they give them money to try and hand sell the cans.
So they were doing hand selling at the counter when you're paying. So they were saying, "Have you tried this new beer from Moncton?" And they were just handing it out every time you'd go there. Like,
No, it sucks.
It's horrible how they were doing that. Like, and what it is just it's taking shelf space. And now, of all things, what I find most insulting is that we've got a cooler space. So when you're walking into the MBL, you're walking through all the wines, and then you go into walking towards the cooler. And when you're walking towards the cooler, you'll have a couple of doors of champagne and bubbly and stuff like that. And you got one door of beer before you walk into the cooler, which you can grab some quick stuff. They've designated this for a New Brunswick beer showcase. They've got it in there with them.
It's brewed in Moncton, right? But like their slogan is like made by Maritimers for Maritimers. Like that's just
it's Coors Banquet in a fucking yellow and green can.
Yeah, no, it's
some goofy stuff. I find that makes me crazy in a lot of ways. Like it's just it's marketing. I worked retail for a long time, not just alcohol retail, but other retail. And I still find it it's hilarious to me that so many people in higher up positions like marketing teams and advertising teams and all this stuff, they spend all this money on like shelf talkers and signage and displays and all this other stuff. And for all the time that I worked in retail, and I've seen hundreds of thousands of customers in a day. Well, not hundreds of thousands. I've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales in a day. I can tell you definitively, people don't read shit. They don't look at any signage.
No.
I could swear I could put a sign in the store that said, "Tell me you read this sign, and I will give you $500." And it would probably be 2 months before somebody said something about it.
No,
holy shit.
We've all worked retail, right? Like,
yeah,
I worked different types of retail. Tony, I know you have, and
I just recently started working retail. So
you're still in retail, and it's like people don't
read.
Anything.
They don't care.
No, they don't read.
Because number one, most people know what they want when they go into the store, and it's not what you're telling them what they want.
No.
And number two, nowadays, especially nowadays, people are researching things before they go in to get them anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's I couldn't tell you the last time somebody in a store influenced my buying decision except for Bishop's Cellar. Like, there's no
but that's different. That's like it's a specialty product.
Yeah, I would go in and Lucas is like, "Hey, we have this new stuff. Do you want to try it?" I'm like, "Yeah, great." Or it's like I go in and I say, "Hey, Jason, I don't know shit about wine. Can you help me out a bit?" But like in terms of retail, like I haven't been in a retail store in 15 months, basically. But even if I did, it's like in and out. Like, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And like
certainly not at the NSLC or like if I was in New Brunswick at the AMBL. Like, there's nobody who works there that's going to change my mind.
Except for
absolutely. And like what I find frustrating on that part is that for the customer that's going in there and not really knowing what's what, and you're looking to try a new beer, and you're wandering around, you're looking, and someone from the staff of the MBL comes in and says, "Can I help you find something?" And your customer will say, "We're going to try something new." They're getting paid to push fine. That's what's going out the door.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a lost sale for any New Brunswicker.
That's also. I mean, that's a retail thing anyway. I mean, again, you go to retail and there's always things that like you're supposed to do as a person that works retail.
Yeah.
But like it's all about knowing your audience too. It's not. Literally, you can't do it to everyone.
Well, they're obviously not trained to learn who their customers are, and like they've got no beer knowledge whatsoever. They're not getting the training. So what they're doing is just pushing what they're told to push.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's Kyle, I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you've encountered this too. There's always a contest going on. There's always
Yeah.
Like internal, like somebody is pushing, like a distributor's pushing this, a distributor's pushing that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, if your store sells this many cans of this thing, we'll give you a boat. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
And that happens in any retail, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't want to totally slag on the liquor corps because that happens
No.
everywhere. I'm sure you
yeah.
you sell so many snowblowers, maybe you get a gift card to wherever or whatever the case might be.
You know what? That there is all of the free shit is out the door. It's just sell what you want. We don't give a fuck. If you can get it, you can get it. And that's
good enough.
I think that right now with the era that we're in, from suppliers, we get shit. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
But I think for me it's always like when you feel like you're pulling the wool over someone's eyes.
Yeah.
When someone comes in and says, "Hey, I want to try something new," and you can, you tell someone they're buying this beer from New Brunswick, when like, yeah, sure, it's made in New Brunswick, but like it's owned by, the second largest beer corporation in the world, right? Like it's not like you're buying a pale ale from Trailway, or you're buying a Pilsner from Grimrost. You're buying like some beer made by Molson.
There's no effort put in, like,
just
understanding what the customer wants.
No, it's the same line as Coors Banquet, probably just putting in a green can. I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it, so I can't comment on the beer.
I haven't tried it either.
And I really wanted to buy it and try it, but I couldn't bring myself up to
Their
do
followers are pretty low. I feel like if we message them to be like, hey, we'll post about it on the internet, maybe keep you send free cash.
Actually, I think I might have tagged him in that story though. That one with Michael Scott, I'm pretty sure I tagged him, so I might not be able to go back on that.
Yeah. But I remember it coming out, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And you're right, Tony. Like whenever you see like a wall of marketing out of something out of the blue, like that always puts
got to raise a red flag.
Puts my ears up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so like I used to sell video games, and like the ones with the biggest marketing campaigns were either the worst games, or the ones that had the biggest amount to gain from like the quickest amount of sales.
Okay.
And that's just like, I'm a nerd at heart in a lot of ways. So like, to me, like, obviously I don't have time to do as much as I used to play, but it was always funny to see, like, you could tell which games are going to be total fucking stinkers.
Yeah.
Like,
from the get-go.
From the advertising, you're just like, wow, this is going to suck. How many contests are you going to run? And then obviously your exceptions, like the like Call of Duty stuff, or like the sports games, like there was always a contest, but that's all like internal.
Sure.
But like those are like, if you like a sports game, it doesn't matter how good it is. Like they're fun for updated rosters and seeing your favorite players. Like I get that. Yeah, that's a thing. People do that. Whatever. But man, you could just tell.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, that it's got to raise some flags, and it's clear to see that the population did see. Like, I mean, they blasted this shit throughout 3 or 4 provinces, and that's what they got out of it. So I'm happy.
Like, there's a cider company in Nova Scotia now, and I'd never heard of them before, and all of a sudden they launched with like 3 NSLC SKUs, full printed cans, and like a Yeti cooler giveaway. And I was like, this is
holy shit.
What is this?
Yeah.
And I looked at it's like it's owned by like a US company, and like that's like a collab, like it's a co-ownership or a subsidiary of this company in the Valley that also like that's actually operating it, but it's half owned by some American company. I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's anyways, I'm glad to see it not take as much effect or traction as it is. So it's
because when they first showed up, it was you're right, it's a big marketing push, and now they've got like whatever I said, less than 800 Instagram
and there's no more sponsored posts.
No. The trick is, if anytime you see stuff like that, you just got to keep your wits about you. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I people fall privy to that. Like they fall into those traps of like, oh, this marketing's pretty cool. You look at it, you're like, wait a minute, and then you're like, wait a minute, and
and certainly, if you're one of our listeners or whatever, like, feel free to ask me about it, because as soon as I see it, I start doing as much homework as I can to try and figure out where it comes from.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
same with me. I mean, you see something new coming up, and you want to find out who's the owner, where's it from, what's going on. It's this.
Yeah, because I think now more than ever, there's value in making sure you're supporting your local breweries, and
Yep.
you'll see a lot right now, kind of things like, I'm really being mindful of supporting people who I want to make sure see the other side of this. Right? There's people who
Yes.
you don't know how close they are or how tight things are.
Yep.
So right now, especially, I'm doing my best to make sure to get orders in with people who I want to ensure, pull through regardless of what the next few months hold. But
Yeah, that's it. It's definitely not been an easy time on all producers.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen a lot of people switching to more and more packaging and buying more canning lines, which a lot of them are doing like daily deliveries, which is like can't be very cost effective.
No, it's got to be like especially offering free deliveries like in a local area.
Yeah, I mean, even like
for
there's a
a
lot of
$20
breweries,
purchase,
yeah,
or a
20 or
$30
30,
purchase.
$20 or $30, they're doing free delivery, and I'm sure any money they were going to make on that 4-pack or those that $30 is out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Because
definitely
a lot of
hard.
them bought a canning line, and the canning lines aren't cheap either, so they're trying
Yeah,
to
that's kind of been a new
service
trend with the
that debt.
breweries. Like I've seen that in New Brunswick, everybody seems to be buying their own canning.
Well, I
canning
think in New
lines.
Brunswick and Nova Scotia, there was a period where the mobile canning company was doing a lot of that work.
Yes.
And frankly, I haven't heard much out of them lately, but I'm sure they can't. They're based out of Fredericton. I think they can't cross the border right now.
Yeah.
And I think just for a lot of breweries, it was so hard to get scheduled in. They just bought canning lines. But I think a good canning line runs you like $120,000, $150,000. Like they're steep.
Very expensive.
Like a good cask 6 head or 5 head or whatever they are.
Yeah.
It's like 120.
I know like both brewers in town here, they both got one. I think that Petit Soa's got one as well. The one in Tracadie, they got their own canning machine as well. So it's definitely
like in the last year, a few breweries have bought new lines.
Yeah,
or expanded, right?
Which is good. I'm hoping that with them having canning lines, we get to see more one-off series of cans. I mean, me more specifically, not close to the big volume of breweries. It's fun to see some one-offs being available just in cans, not having a small batch being, just on tap, or just have something to go.
Well, locally for us, like Big Spruce, for example, has started. They bought a new canning line. A second canning line. Shit. So they could run their small batch stuff off.
That's great. That's really great.
That starts tomorrow.
Didn't have some issues with their cans? I just seen a post.
Not issues. Yeah. They ran out.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, they bought a bunch of cans from Flying Monkeys.
They ran out of cans. There's a shortage. They bought a bunch of empty cans from Flying Monkeys. They put their sleeves over them.
Yeah, they bought some.
That's so cool.
That's craft breweries helping each other out.
Yes, and you need to see that collaboration. Like it's. I don't know if it's a very common thing in Nova Scotia for breweries to support one another.
Some.
Yeah, that's it. Here in New Brunswick, it's a pretty common thing, but I don't think all of them are on that boat. Just by the fact that here you are allowed to sell to-go cans from other breweries. I don't see why you would not at least have one or two SKUs available from another brewery, not necessarily for just like standalone support for that specific brewery, but it's to get someone in the door that wouldn't typically go into your store for your beer, but they'll go in for that beer, and more than likely they'll end up buying a product from you. It's the loophole to become a private store.
Yeah, and that's like the kind of neat thing is like you can have a store that's like basically a private store.
Yeah, so like at Cavalcade, they've got a great selection of beer from other breweries. They've got some stuff from not Tire Shack, but they had some stuff from Niche, Petit Saut. They got some stuff from Brasserie de la Côte. They've got some stuff from Trailway. Oak Creek's there, obviously. So all kinds of goodies there.
Hey, Tony, you've always talked about that, how like that's kind of like the shortcut to privatization. If you can, everyone starts selling everybody else's beer.
Yeah.
You'd see pretty quickly who would support who's a real supporter of the industry and who's just trying to make their nut and leave everybody else out.
Yeah, and I think in New Brunswick, I mean, we've had, well, I don't know if it's like that in Nova Scotia too, but the industry really blew up and it became an opportunity to make money, to become a very feasible business. And we started to see people getting into the industry, in my opinion, for the wrong reasons. Just big pockets getting into it, and you buy a brewer, basically, and those are the breweries that aren't collaborating with other breweries. They're feeling the pinch.
Yeah, I think you can tell. I think I think at least I feel like I've been able to over the years is kind of tell who's in it for beer and who's in it because they thought it might be a good business idea. And I know we interviewed the premier. It's like 3 years ago now, is it?
I remember that.
Something like that.
I went around. I emailed pretty much every brewery in the province, and I was like, "Hey, if you had questions, what would they be? Like, what's keeping you up at night? What do you want to see?" And there's a lot of people who were like, even 3 years ago, I would love to be able to sell beer from other breweries in the province. And
wow, that's great.
I'm sure that's even more so now. But
at least
I feel like I've been able to tell to a degree over the years who's kind of in it for it's a good business venture versus who's in it for the beer. And we've talked about Niche and Nine Locks today, and I think that they're on the opposite ends of that spectrum.
Yep, absolutely. And I mean, like on our end of being, I don't know what we would call ourselves, but seeing like in a perfect world of all breweries being in it for the reasons that we think is the proper reasons to be in the beer industry.
I think the proper reasons. I mean, no matter what, like everybody's still a business, right? Like that's
of course.
That's
like
the thing,
nobody
right?
should be out there.
Right. So like you're still a business, but like I think the end of it is like you want to make a good product and
and be part of the culture. It's
yeah.
I mean, I think you can look at who helps out who in the industry speaks highly of who.
Yeah.
Who is involved in such things. There's a portion of the market who just wants to go and drink beer or buy beer to feel like they're supporting the community or whatever, and that's a portion of the market. But I think that there's also a portion of the market who wants to make sure that you're supporting people who are doing good, people who have share your values. I think,
I think that portion of the market is getting larger and larger.
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, right now I'm trying to make sure that I'm supporting people who I think that my values would align with. That when it comes time to me, try and help out who makes it through. That those are the people who I want to see.
That's it. I absolutely agree with you on that. Definitely. Yeah. So we've been talking for almost 2 hours.
This is what happens. This is what happens.
Yeah, the tail end. It's like I don't know who would listen that far into it.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
You can read your YouTube.
I'm gonna get all my insights
statistics.
On it.
Let's see.
Yeah. So we'll at least get 2 people. I'm assuming 2 or 3 to go this far. Yeah, on long episodes like this, and this is like typically something I don't necessarily do very often. I think the last Zoom I did was with
multiple hour rants are our game.
Yeah, either Reg Laplanche from 123 Punk or La Petite Bière. I think it was Reg Laplanche.
Okay.
Yeah. We go too long. Sometimes we go long, but that's just because there's a lot to talk about.
That's it. Yeah, and I'm not the biggest fan of Zoom. It's hard to get used to it.
Oh man, don't even get me started. I'd spend, I don't know, at least a third of my every single workday on Zoom. So
holy shit.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Oh my god, I don't know how you do it.
# management life.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It's crazy. It's you must be anxious for this shit to be over.
No, I'm good, man. I like talking this stuff. This is easier than half the other stuff I have to talk about when I'm on here. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, I'm gonna.
And I'm not wearing a collared shirt.
That's true.
Because when I do my thing, I try and look at least somewhat clean, because you can't see my half constructed wall behind me.
Yeah,
but,
that's right.
So I'm wearing I'm repping my Lone Oak.
Awesome.
Speaking of, optional. I got some Lone Oak today from Bishop Cellar.
Son of a bitch.
So there you go.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had anything from Lone Oak.
I got a 6-pack.
If you haven't, you should.
Yeah,
you definitely should
put that on my bucket list for sure.
It's easy. Just once you're allowed to, just go across the bridge.
That's it. That's they did a collaboration with Cavalcade. That's where I had a.
Did they?
Yeah, they did a Quake or Quake double IPA.
Oh, interesting.
So sold.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, it was interesting. Interesting.
Well, Bishops has 6-packs of the Fixed Lake Pilsner now, so.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Giddy up.
I'm pretty sure they'll still have some. Oh, they might still have some of that double IPA, that collaboration with Cavalcade and Lone Oak. Once the border opens up.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yep, should be good. All right. Well, I want to give you a big thanks to Kyle and Tony for joining me on this very awesome podcast. The first collaboration.
Oh, there'll be more, I think.
Oh yeah, I think we should do this on a regular basis.
Did you guys?
Thanks for giving me a reason to rip into this niche bottle.
Yeah, I feel special since you opened that up on screen with me. That was great.
Did you guys talk on the podcast last year in Fredericton?
I think very briefly we did.
Yes, small little chat we had just outside the ballroom.
Main hall, yeah. But yeah, I don't know if folks ever want to check us out. We're really easy to find. It's NowToBrewCast.com.
Oh, you guys got a website and everything. Very professional.
Well, that's about as far as we go from a professionalism standpoint.
Yeah.
But
you'll be able to find them on Spotify easily enough.
Yeah, Spotify. If you just punch in Now to Brewcast and like your favorite brewery in New Brunswick or Nova Scotia or
you guys pretty well
Island, you'll find it there. But I'd highly recommend if you're looking for a fun pack of episodes to go back through. The ones that we did last summer on Prince Edward Island were really great, especially the ones with Island hops and
Shoreline
malting.
Yeah.
So really interesting chats, a lot to learn, and really interesting if you've ever wondered about what goes into the beer that you drink.
Yeah.
At a little bit higher detail, and both those episodes, like, just I can't say that I honestly learned more in that handful of I think it was one day. I think I learned more in one day than I had in quite some time from a beer perspective.
Yeah, no, we got up early. We met John at the malt house at like 9 a.m. or something.
Wow.
And we, between the malt house and then going to the fields with the farmer and the maltster, I think we spent like 5 hours with them.
Holy shit.
And we drove across the province and met up with Josh. And
but you neglected to tell the best part, where we drove the rented Dodge Charger through the barley field. Brand spanking new rented Dodge Charger, just out for a rip through a barley field.
We got shit
on the north coast of Prince Edward Island.
We got to Bogside at the end of the day. We're literally like picking barley out of the grill.
Yeah,
that's unreal. I'm super jealous of the stuff you guys did on site.
I've never felt so dumb in my life. Like, I'm not like a dumb person, I'd like to think, but like talking to John and the farmer and the maltster for whatever it was, I think better part of 5 hours, and then driving and then talking to Josh for 3 hours probably between the fields and the interview. It's just like my brain was just packed. Like it's insane.
Yeah, the knowledge that didn't come out of that.
Didn't we? Yeah, and then we went. that was a crazy day, right? I think we went and recorded 4 episodes in one day.
Holy.
Yeah, we got up.
We did the malt, we did the hops, we did Bogside, and then we did our tasting episode that night
in the cottage or whatever. Yeah,
Unreal.
that was a rough.
We were floored. That was like, I think that was the hardest we've ever went on a trip. I think like
that's a lot of work,
and we
were sober most of it.
And we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go take sunset pictures.
Sunrise. You go take sunset pictures.
Sunrise,
you take sunset pictures in the morning.
So Phil dragged.
I'm not a dumb guy, but we went to take some sunrise photos at 5 a.m. or sunset photos.
Phil dragged us out to like this teacup rock thing.
It's a Thunder Cove.
Thunder Cove
on Prince Edward Island.
5 o'clock in the morning, and then
gotta go. It gotta go. If you
have to go.
Island, it's beautiful. You got to get up early because there's nobody there. You watch the sunrise. Oh, it's just beautiful.
And then we went to all day at the farm. So we went to the hop farm. Then we went to Bogside. Then we had some beers to Copper Bottom, and then we went back to the cottage. I think, and we got an early ferry. We were on fire that weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then we saw John again at the ferry.
That's being on top, producing all the time. That's a lot of work for.
It's a lot of recording.
Weekend.
Well, we were making hay. We were making hay because I had a baby on the way.
And it was the weekend after the Atlantic Bubble opened. It was like the week after.
That got us through the entire summer. Actually, that one day's work got us through the entire summer.
Yeah, and then we didn't record again until December. Yeah. And then didn't record again until like April.
It's hard to keep consistency. I mean, I find it so difficult.
Up until that point, we had done an episode every 2 weeks, pretty much. Then the pandemic hit, and it really slowed us down.
We couldn't go anywhere, and even if we could, we didn't. It's hard to get talking to people, and yes, right now, people are ramping up for summer production and stuff. Like it's hard to get people in the summer anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely.
We'll see what we do.
Yeah. So I'll ask this question since I didn't get a chance to ask you. Where's your favorite?
It's me.
spot?
I'm the most handsome one. Sorry.
Okay, Tony gets the award. He's the prettiest one.
Dress.
Okay, really though, what's your question? Sorry.
Where's your favorite spot you guys have visited?
Oh fuck.
Wait. I'll visited and favorite guest. So combined. It's got to be combined.
Favorite spot.
So guess can be different, good guess and good spot. The best combination.
Okay, so like I'm gonna leave the PEI stuff aside because like it was so intense and like totally worth your time.
Okay.
I think anytime we've ever had Jeremy White from Big Spruce on the podcast, it's always a good time. That guy can tell a story like nobody I know. We went and recorded one episode at Big Spruce a couple of years ago, and we had to split it into 2 episodes because it just went. It's
our only ever 2-parter.
It's the only 2-parter we've ever done because it was like there was so much. There was just so much that we covered.
And we got there, and he's like, "So what are we doing?"
Yeah, he's like, "Oh,
unprepared.
Oh, really sure." And then we just fucking tore
and
it.
That was it.
The rah came out, and then it got ugly. But so that like he's always great to have on. Who's the most appeared guest on the podcast? Do you remember, Kyle?
It's I don't know. It's probably Peter Burbridge.
I think and like so he from North Brewing.
He's one of the owners of North.
One of the owners of North. Him and Josh, not Rosina though. Him and Josh were on our first ever episode. We actually owe them a new episode because that first episode is
it's rough.
Just because the audio quality wasn't there. It was really just a proof of concept.
Yeah.
But like, so he's been on the podcast like what 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. So we did our first episode, and he definitely did one. He was on the board of C-Bands for a while. We talked to him for sure. I think at the ACBAs one year.
Yep.
And then we did a tasting at their house, and then they zoomed in around Christmas time. That's 5. And there may be more, honestly.
But
Jeez.
as far as favorite spot, oh man, I get blown away by aesthetics pretty easily. Like I love going into a place that just like, I don't know, you just get like the vibe that they really put all their time and energy into a spot.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of locations that we've been to that you just like big tap rooms or things like that you just feel like are really, really welcoming and really enjoyable places to go. But like strictly speaking for the podcast, I mean, I really liked going to. I mean, I'm partial to Two Crows Tap Room, obviously.
It's a beautiful space.
It'd be like a really cool industrial space. I also like Caboquet's like tap room. That's a really neat spot.
Yeah.
Like they put a lot. You can tell they put a lot of these. Maybe, but I think they've changed since we've been there last.
They doubled.
They've been on beer MB beer memes.
Grim Ross was a nice spot to go because it's just a huge spot and it's really neat how they have it split up. Even Big Spruce, like they've got a really cool place, like the tap room there.
And they just built another building this spring, I think, to help with to-go beers and that kind of thing.
I can't wait to see whatever Tata's got going on with whatever they're building. And
I mean, their place is great.
I'm definitely booking a trip to Nova Scotia.
Church is a pretty cool spot too.
Totally.
That's one place where I have seen it like aesthetically on Instagram. It looks really so cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice kind of beer hall vibe.
Yeah. Definitely on my list of breweries to visit in Nova Scotia when I can get the chance to go down there. And I haven't been in Nova Scotia in quite possibly a decade.
Yeah. It's a long way, man.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. I tend to go north all the time.
Right. Well, Gaspésie is closer than
Oh yeah. I mean
Halifax, so
it's 2 hours away. But I need to go down. I need to take a trip and go into the province. I mean, me and my wife we've been talking about that for a long time, and I think we need to go. I gotta visit, check out the sites. I think that there's lots to see.
Well, we should go. We'll do a little round around town. That'd be fun.
Yes, I'd be down for that for sure. Yeah. Well, that about cuts it. I'm happy with this. This was fun.
Yeah, man. Good times.
We'll cut it there. So we'll see you next time, folks.
Yes, man. Thanks.
By far my longest episode ever.